Okay, I want you to imagine something for a second. What if your next performance review, your next big promotion, or even worst case scenario, your termination was decided entirely by an algorithm?
I know, right? It sounds exactly like the plot of some dystopian science fiction movie. But here's the thing. For millions of workers right now, this is already a reality. There's this invisible shift happening in workplaces all across the globe. We're witnessing the rise of what you could call the algorithmic boss. These machines are quietly stepping up and actually assuming managerial functions. They're no longer just simple software tools. They're becoming actual decision makers, directing human labor.
So, in this explainer, we're going to dive right into how artificial intelligence is fundamentally rewriting the rules of management. Because when we hand the keys over to the machine, sure, we gain some absolutely incredible efficiencies, but we also inherit some pretty serious hidden risks that we're only just starting to understand. To really wrap our heads around why this shift is happening at lightning speed, you just need to look at this one staggering number: 50%. Research shows that up to half of a traditional manager's everyday workload is entirely consumed by administrative noise. Think of it as a logistics tax. It's this massive real-world problem that is just suffocating modern managers. Instead of actually leading their teams, they're drowning. They're stuck doing manual meeting scheduling, endlessly triaging IT tickets, typing up routine progress reports, and monitoring basic policy compliance. It is an exhausting drain on their time. So the big question is, how are top enterprises secretly eliminating this tax? Well, to find out, we need to take a look inside the AI engine. Let's open up the black box. At the very core of this whole architecture are large language models, or LLMs. You can think of them as the brain of the operation. They process complex information, they reason through data, and they generate insights. And what's really fascinating is how companies are optimizing this. They aren't just using one giant model for everything. They'll route the simple, easy tasks to smaller, cheaper models and save the heavy lifters like GPT-4 for the really complex analysis. That smart routing alone can slash operating costs by up to 40%. But look, a brain still needs a way to actually interact with the world, right? That is where AI agents come in. They are the hands of the system. They execute tasks, orchestrate workflows, and actually take autonomous action across different systems. Enterprise platforms are deploying these agents natively right now to resolve IT tickets, provision equipment for new hires, and automate access management across entire departments. And they're doing it with zero human intervention. Overseeing all of this, you have predictive analytics. This is essentially the radar. It's constantly scanning the environment for patterns and forecasting trends. For example, Siemens uses an AI system with dynamic risk scoring that can literally identify latent factors contributing to employee turnover. It allows managers to step in and intervene before an employee even drafts their resignation letter. Now, you might be wondering, does this actually work? Well, the proof is staggering. Take a platform called Recruit AI. By automating high-volume technical screening, they slashed the full cycle time to hire from 24 days down to just 10 days. Plus, their interview-to-offer ratio tripled. They were able to dramatically scale their hiring without adding a single human to their recruitment. And the financial impacts? Just as massive. Unilever completely redesigned their recruitment process to handle 1.8 million applications a year, using AI video screening and gamified assessments. The result was 70,000 interviewing hours saved and £1 million in direct cost savings. They essentially took the human gatekeeper and moved them to the very final stage of the entire process. This kind of momentum is literally everywhere right now. Hilton Hotels rolled out a conversational recruiting AI that automated 83% of their recruiters' administrative tasks. By switching to AI video assessments instead of those massive 100-question tests, they filled a training class in just 5 days. That process used to take them 6 weeks. But as we pull back the curtain on all this incredible efficiency, we really have to look at the dark side of automation. We're currently watching two very distinct paths of algorithmic authority emerge. On one hand, you have the gig economy model. This one is built on continuous surveillance, real-time GPS tracking, and automated disciplinary action. We're talking about firing workers with zero human oversight. It's maximum efficiency, but often at the cost of basic human dignity. On the other hand, you have corporate enterprise collaborative AI. This model focuses on augmenting human capability, aggregating data with strict privacy protections, and crucially, keeping humans in the loop for the final decisions. But listen, even in the enterprise space, we still have to confront the black box problem.
AI that's trained on historical data is going to quietly perpetuate systemic biases. It might unjustly filter out perfectly qualified candidates simply because it learned some really bad habits from human recruiters in the past. Combine that with generative AI hallucinations and the severe risk of data leaks involving sensitive employee info, and the dangers become crystal clear.
Because at the end of the day, automation without human judgment doesn't scale performance, it just scales mistakes. Which brings us to the human-AI symbiosis.
The real solution here is a framework for the future, a true partnership. At the foundational level, AI handles the heavy lifting of task distribution, which frees up the human manager to actually provide empathy, supervision, and clear communication. Then, higher up the chain, AI acts as an environmental radar, while human executives provide the strategic, holistic direction. It's a balance. But there is a massive hidden trap in this transition, and we need to talk about it. Research from Harvard University found that entry-level hiring has plummeted by 80% per quarter at firms that are rapidly adopting generative AI. 80%! We call this the entry-level automation paradox. Think about it. For decades, doing that repetitive, grunt work was exactly how a junior employee built their professional intuition and judgment. By automating away all those routine tasks, we are accidentally knocking down the very scaffolding we use to train the next generation of managers. We are genuinely facing a looming leadership crisis if we don't adjust.
The takeaway here is that middle managers are not obsolete. They are just overloaded. They are the structural shock absorbers of any organization, but their roles absolutely must evolve. We need them to stop acting as simple gatekeepers and enforcers, and instead become insight architects and empathetic coaches who can connect the dots across all those corporate silos.
So to thrive in this new landscape, you really have to stop thinking like a traditional supervisor. You need to start thinking like an AI product manager. You have to design the workflows, manage the exceptions, and constantly audit the system for fairness. As AI continues to absorb the routine work, the question is, are you ready to move from simply making decisions to designing the guardrails?